Hi everyone. So in this video, I'm going to discuss the topic of Bohr's model of hydrogen atom. Okay. So Bohr's model of hydrogen atom, it is based on certain assumptions or postulates. Okay. So they are popularly called as Bohr's postulates. Now, the first postulate says that electron in an atom revolves in stable non-radiating orbits. Okay. Stable non-radiating orbits. So what is the meaning of this? See, in an atom, you have the nucleus. Okay, now suppose this is the nucleus, and electron are revolving around the nucleus. Okay, so this is an electron. Now it is revolving in this orbit. Okay, now according to electromagnetic theory, see, when a charged particle is accelerated, it radiates energy. So if an electron is revolving in a circular path, obviously its velocity is changing. Means if the magnitude of velocity is not changing, if we assume that the electron is moving with uniform speed, but the direction of velocity is changing. Now if the direction of velocity is changing, that means it is accelerated, that means velocity is changing. Now for accelerated charged particle, it is going to radiate energy. Now if this electron, it radiates energy, that means it loses energy, then what will happen? It will radiate energy and the radius of the orbit will continuously decrease, and finally it will collapse in the nucleus. Okay, it will collapse in the nucleus. So this will result in instability of the atom, but we know that atom is a stable part. Okay, it is a stable component. So that means this electron should not radiate energy. Okay, so that means these electrons are revolving in the orbits in which they don't radiate energy. So they are called stable non-radiating orbits. Okay, stable non-radiating orbits. Now this is the first postulate. Okay, now the second postulate is electron revolves around the nucleus only in those orbits for which angular momentum is an integral multiple of h by twice pi. Okay, where h is the Planck's constant. Okay, so angular momentum L, it is integral multiple of h by twice pi. So that is n times, n is an integer, so n times h by twice pi. Okay, so this is called quantization of orbits. Okay, so if in exam it is asked what do you mean by quantization of orbits, then you are supposed to write this second postulate. Okay, angular momentum is quantized, that means angular momentum will be integral multiple of h by twice pi, where h is the Planck's constant. Okay, now coming to the third postulate, when electron makes a transition from higher state to lower state, a photon is released with energy equal to energy difference of the two states. Okay, now suppose this is one state, this is another state, that electrons are revolving in various energy states. So when electron, suppose this electron from this state, it jumps to this state. So this is energy at this state is E initial, energy at this state is E final. Okay, so when electron jumps from initial state to final state, it is going to release a photon, where energy of the photon is this quantity h times f, where f is the frequency of the emitted photon. And what will be the energy of the photon? It will be equal to the energy difference of these two energy levels, that is E initial minus E final. Okay, so this is how energy is radiated. Like electron revolving in a particular orbit, it is not going to radiate energy, but energy will be radiated only when electron jumps from higher energy to lower energy. This is higher energy, this is lower energy level. Okay, so these are the three Bohr's postulates. Now based on the Bohr's postulates, let us calculate the radii of orbits. Okay, now see, Bohr's postulates and Bohr's atom model, it is based on hydrogen atom. Okay, it is for hydrogen atom. Now for hydrogen atom, the atomic number is 1. Okay. Now we are going to derive the Bohr's model for hydrogen-like atom. Okay, for hydrogen-like atoms. So we will take this atomic number as Z. Okay. Now wherever we have to calculate for hydrogen, we will substitute Z equal to 1. Okay. So I hope there is no confusion in this, because see, Bohr's model, it was given for hydrogen atom only. Okay. But question may be asked like for other atoms also. So that is why we will take this atomic number as Z wherever required. Okay. Acha, now let us calculate this radii of orbits for hydrogen-like atoms. Okay. So here we have an atom. This is the nucleus. Okay. Nucleus has Z protons. Okay. It also has neutrons, but neutrons don't carry any charge. Okay. So here in this calculation, it will not come into picture. So we have Z protons in the nucleus, and outside this is one electron. Okay. Now this electron, it is revolving in this orbit. Okay. It is revolving in this orbit with radius Rn. So this is the radius Rn. Okay. And speed is Vn. So this is the speed Vn, and this is the nth orbit. Okay. I hope things are clear. This is the nth orbit. Radius is Rn and speed is Vn. Okay. Acha. Now see, this electron, it is revolving under the influence of electrostatic force. Okay. Electrostatic force of attraction between the charge in the nucleus and the charge of electron. Okay. Now see, charge of electron, and this charge of electron is E, and in the nucleus you have Z protons, so the charge will be Z times E. Okay. And these are separated by distance Rn. Okay. So what is the expression for electrostatic force? F, it is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. This is the expression for electrostatic force, isn't it? Now this electrostatic force provides the centripetal force which is required for the circular motion. Okay. So here we have equated the centripetal force. This is the expression for centripetal force. Centripetal force, it is F is equal to mv square by R, isn't it? So here we have written V as Vn, because this is the speed of the electron in the nth orbit. Radius is Rn, so mvn square by Rn, that is equal to the electrostatic force. Okay, that is equal to the electrostatic force. So electrostatic force is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2. Q1 is Ze, that is the charge at the nucleus, and E is the charge of the electron. So we have this expression. Okay. Now from the Bohr's quantization condition, that is angular momentum is quantized. Now angular momentum, it is L is equal to R cross P. Okay. Now here the velocity is tangential to the orbit. So that means angle between P and R is 90 degree. So I can write L is equal to R times R into P. So that is equal to mvr. Okay. So now for nth orbit, we have written mvn Rn. Okay. So now since Bohr's quantization condition implies angular momentum is n times h by twice pi, so this angular momentum is equal to nh by twice pi. Okay. So from this we get the expression for Vn. as Vn equal to nh by twice by m Rn. Okay. Now, if you substitute this value of Vn in, say, if we call this equation as 1 and this as 2, so if you substitute the value of 2 in 1, so you get this expression. Okay. From that, we get the expression for radius of electron in nth orbit. Okay. Now here, as you can see this h square epsilon naught pi m e square, these are constant. So we can say that radius in nth orbit, it is directly proportional to n square and inversely proportional to z. What is z? Z is the atomic number. Okay. So now for hydrogen, because basically this expression was obtained for hydrogen. Okay. So because this Bohr's model is valid for hydrogen atom or hydrogen like atom, but Bohr gave the theory for hydrogen atom. So for hydrogen, Z is equal to 1. So substituting the value of this Z as 1, we get Rn equal to n square h square epsilon naught divided by pi m e square. Okay. So this is the expression for radius of Bohr orbit, nth Bohr orbit. Now for first Bohr orbit, what is n? N equal to 1. So substituting here n equal to 1, we get this expression as R1 is equal to 0.53 angstrom. So this is the radius of first Bohr orbit, 0.53 angstrom. So next, let us see how to calculate the velocity of revolving electron. Okay. Now we have this expression from Bohr's quantization condition, Vn equal to nh by twice by m Rn. Okay. Now this Rn is the radius of nth Bohr orbit. Okay. Now radius of nth Bohr orbit we have already got, so we have substituted that value over here. Okay. So simplifying, we have Vn equal to this result, Z e square divided by 2 nh epsilon naught. Okay. So now here again, see 2h epsilon naught e square, these are constant. So we can say this velocity of electron in nth orbit, it is directly proportional to Z and inversely proportional to n. Okay. And for hydrogen atom, Z is equal to 1. So if you substitute Z equal to 1, we get this result, Vn equal to e square by 2 nh epsilon naught. So this is the velocity of electron for hydrogen atom in nth orbit. Okay. For first orbit, you have to substitute this value of n equal to 1, and then you will get the value of velocity of electron in first Bohr orbit. Okay. So you have, see, you may forget this expression. Okay. That is not important, but you should know that Vn is directly proportional to Z and inversely proportional to n. This you can obviously derive and get if some numericals are asked, but this relation, it is better to remember this relation, that Vn is directly proportional to Z and inversely proportional to n. Okay. Similar to like the previous result, that radius of electron in nth orbit, it was directly proportional to n square and inversely proportional to Z. Okay. So these results are a bit important. So next, let us see how to calculate the frequency of revolving electron. Okay, in nth orbit. Okay. Now frequency Fn, it is equal to reciprocal of time period, so 1 by Tn. Okay. Now time period T, it is twice by R, length of the path, divided by speed. Okay. So for nth orbit, this R will be Rn and V will be Vn. So this becomes Vn by twice by Rn. Now we have already got the expression for Vn and Rn. Okay. So those things I have substituted over here, and simplifying the expression, we get this result. Frequency in nth orbit Fn equal to Z square me4 divided by 4 epsilon naught square h cube n cube. Okay, now again here leaving aside all the constant, that is mass of electron, charge of electron, 4 epsilon naught square, we have frequency directly proportional to z square and inversely proportional to this is again constant, this should not be here. So frequency is directly proportional to z square and inversely proportional to n cube. Okay, so for hydrogen atom, again this value of this z will be 1, so this becomes 1 and we are left with the leftover equation, that is Me4 divided by 4 epsilon naught square h cube n cube. Okay, so this is frequency of hydrogen in frequency of revolving electron in hydrogen atom, and this is for general case for hydrogen like atoms. Okay, so hydrogen like atoms means we will have Z. For hydrogen, Z is equal to 1.